days of long ago, created by the cosmic legends of the universe. There stands one man, one great man, a man dedicated to preserving all that is good in pop culture. Loved by few, hated by many. Alone in his fortress of awesomeness, he battles fearlessly against the wolf, the evil, the unjust. To right that which is wrong, to stand for justice, to serve all mankind. He is the one, the only, the Comic Relief Crusader. Hey guys, how's it going? Ready for another Titillating Tuesday? I guess we are. Because we are here. Sorry about last week. Things got in the way and I had to take the Tuesday off because being busy is a pain in the ass. And we are simultaneously broadcasting on YouTube and Rumble. So hail to everybody in the YouTube Geekosphere and as well as Rumble. Great to see you guys. Has everybody had a good week so far? Seen how yesterday was Monday? I don't know. But we'll find out, I guess, in a minute. So want to say hello to a few people that have already dropped in. We got Carla Burton that was first in the chat. Hail, Carla Burton. And we got our illustrious Killer Rabbit from space. Hello, Rabbit Overlord of ours. And we have Tim the Enchanter that showed up as well. Hail to Tim the Enchanter. And Ledrod. Hey, dude, how's it going? And James Caserta. Green, funny-looking pieces of paper. Okay, I don't know what that's all about. But I'm assuming that you know, and I'll just ignore it as well. And John Rendell, how's it going, dude? Nice that you can be here, Fez Bro. And joining us also in the chat, we got the Admiral Jig. How's it going, Admiral?
Hey, buddy, what's up? Nice to see you.
Well, currently, I think it might be raining. Other than that, yeah. Slowly comes the end of summer. And sitting in third chair, we got Pop Culture Republic. How's it going?
Hey. How's it going?
Hey. Ah, so far, so good.
Good.
Trying to keep it all together. Thank God Monday is over and done with. So.
Oh, I know it.
How have you guys been doing? Dig, we'll start
well.
with you. How's it going, dude?
It's been a week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Several days in a row consisting of a standard unit of measurement known as a week. It's been a week. It's sort of like the way Rise of Skywalker is a movie. Like, I think it's a week. I think it's a movie.
It's a feverish nightmare.
Yeah, I want to just say hi to everybody in the chat too. Hello, everybody. Killer Rabbit from space, Carla Burton, Tim the Enchanter, everybody else out there, James Caserta. Thank you all for coming by, Lenrod as well. And it's great to see all of you, and so many of you, especially Killer Rabbit and Carla Burton, have said so many nice things to me over this last week, which has been a real drag in my life.
Nice. Well,
yeah. I thank the community and the Comic Relief Crusader community.
Not a problem, bud. Pop, how's your week been going?
Oh, again, going pretty well considering it's another day that ends in Y.
Yeah, I know, right? Just can't seem to get away from
all
those.
good. All good.
Yes? No, go ahead.
Just of course, hello to everyone in chat as always.
Yes, we seem to
Yep.
have some of the best chats out there, especially
Yeah.
lately. It's not bad. It's great because we just have a bunch of characters here, and I love it so much. Let's see. Well, why don't we kick things off with a laugh and start off today with our patented funny news of the week, shall we? This from Australia. From the Daily Mail Australia. I think being a hairy woman is super sexy, but it took me years to show it off. Now I want others to do the same. And yeah, you take a look and wow, those hairy armpits. I don't know if I should zoom in on that, but dang, she needs some mighty good shears. That's all I can say. So, Australia, what have you done?
Yeah.
I can't.
No, I can't. No.
Exactly. My eyes.
No. Yeah.
Isn't this the norm in Europe? Isn't this allegedly the norm in Europe? Not that I'm saying it's a good look here. I'm not. I'm saying, isn't this the norm? But she's spending less time grooming her armpits than I am.
Yeah, I know, right?
Armpits, they're their thing. They smell bad. You got to work on them.
Exactly.
In this, the only thing I don't like this look, but like if she was to say to me, you know what, like women's deodorant just doesn't work, and I end up smelling like a freaking pig and need a little hair to hold the deodorant on, she'd have a better case than this one. I don't get it.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Maybe in France it works. I don't know. But
I don't know.
And I would point out that
maybe Germany.
she's not. She's not here. Her is the word hirsute. She's not hirsutulous or hirsute.
Right.
She doesn't look like she's wearing a hair suit, is what I'm saying. Do I think that? Do I think that a certain part of her anatomy looks like a slice of pizza that's been thrown on the floor of a barbershop and kicked around? Get back to me.
Exactly. Yeah, Killer Rabbit from Space. Hell, I'm a rabbit and she's hairier than me.
Woof.
That's saying way too much. Damn it. Yeah. John Randall. Yep. Mommy, make it go away. And of course, Lenrod with the positive view. Yeah. Asymmetrical rack. Scary, isn't it? And hail Christian, how's it going, dude? You dropped in just in the nick of time, man, my friend. So just to view that hairy, scary news of the week. There we go. So
I want to see what her back looks like. If she's saying she's hairy, I mean, I think what she's saying is my alternative take on grooming is sexy to me, but it took me years to be able to say it because I got scoffed at so many times.
Probably. She'd probably make a grayback gorilla look jealous.
Thrown on the floor of the barbershop. Just picture a slice of pizza thrown on the floor of the barbershop and just kicked around into every corner.
That's right.
No.
For you, John.
No.
For you. So, God. Well, that's enough of that scary.
Okay.
So,
moving right
it's
along.
a tribble, Jim.
Yeah, exactly.
Damn it, I'm a doctor, not a barber. Watch that thing.
Is she a six-pack date? Yes, she is. So
is she at least Brazilian, so to speak?
Probably.
Could it only be that bad?
Killer Rabbit, yeah, what did we do to deserve that comic relief? Well, it's to deter your kind from invading the planet. So that's why I had to do it, my friend. So
the last time
yeah.
I saw someone ascribed to a fate like that, it was by a gigantic slug and translated by a golden android.
Oh boy.
A new definition of pain and suffering. As you are digested over the course of 1,000 years.
I'm just picturing Pinhead. Yeah. We will find new ways of pain. So,
that would be a tough choice. It's like puzzle box, date this chick. Maybe I could figure out the puzzle box.
I would offer the puzzle box to her. So, damn. Well, yes, I'm glad you agree with me. We have to keep our planetary defenses up to date, and this is the only way we can think of doing it. So, yeah. So, again, people, our torture, our pain is your pleasure. So this is what we have to do. So because we don't talk enough about Star Trek, or haven't talked about Star Trek in the past few months and whatnot, I thought, you know what, I'm gonna do this for you, buddy. I'm gonna do this for you, Teague.
Oh,
yes,
no, here we go.
Because I know you've had enough lately.
Let me put my face on. Hold on a second.
Okay, good enough.
Let me get let me pull some more pleasing guys. How do you like this one?
Well,
okay, Tin Man.
Pretty much where I was going with that anyway. So, because you've had a rough couple of weeks, Teague, I'm doing this for you. So, this from Bending into Comics lately here. I'm going to be talking about George Takei. And Star Trek actor George Takei believes opposition to child body mutilation can lead to World War II internment camps. Oh, George.
Oh, George.
You freaking retard. You freaking retard.
Why? You know, whenever I see a World War II movie that was made like during the war, you know, or any black and white movie from like up to 1945, I think to myself, what did young George Takei think about this movie when he watched it in jail? And you know what? It sucks because you want to love Sulu, but George Takei, he's real old. And for the first 15 minutes of Twitter, he seemed like a genius. And you know what, George? I recently found out the curse of the blue check mark. I'd like to return mine. And you know what? Just don't do it. Don't do it. And then you know what? You don't always have to be relevant, and you don't always have to weigh in. That would be my takeaway from the last couple of weeks of my life here.
Much like Shatner, I'm done with him. I'm over him. He can just go away into some sort of retirement. Instead of trying to make himself relevant.
Yeah, his relevant tweet ratio is even really, really low, even compared to someone like me. I mean, honestly, what was the last relevant tweet when he condemned Star Trek Beyond and said that Sulu should be played the way that he originated the character, not the way, should be modeled on his Sulu work, not his life. That was the last time I remember him saying something that I didn't find annoying or irrelevant. And that's like, what, 8 years ago?
That's pretty much it. Yeah. So, but let's find out what this titillating news is. Star Trek actor George Takei recently shared his beliefs that opposition to child body mutilation can lead to World War II internment camps. Oh, George, will you ever stop?
Fuck you, George. Fuck you for making that equivalency.
Takei shared his thoughts as part of his Substack, The Big Picture, which he teased on Twitter. He initially wrote, despite decades of advocacy for LGBTQ plus rights, I should probably read this as George Takei. The troubling see, I can't really do it that well, but I'll try. The troubling pattern of scapegoating persists as someone who's experienced forced relocation as a child. The sense of deja vu is deeply unsettling. It's crucial that we learn from history, push for change, and use our votes to secure a better future, he added. Really? Nobody's sending gay people or any part of the LGBTQ community to internment camps, George. I don't know where he's getting this from. Like, internment camps and concentration camps, bad because they focused on a quote unquote race of people.
Well, let's not even. We're having really messed up terms here injected into a. These are not the proper terms to be using for this debate, and what George is doing is he's really coarsening any. And you know what? Why is he discussing this? I just hope that when I'm 90 fucking years old, I've amassed enough wealth to shut the fuck up and have some goddamn dignity.
Yeah.
What? Fuck you, George.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't even. I can't even relate to this. I mean,
no.
Set aside.
I used to look up to you. You fuck.
Yeah. I mean, set aside politics and everything. We're talking about a segment of our population who are the most vulnerable, the most impressionable. You leave them alone.
Exactly.
He's not even a parent. I'm sorry, I just had to get that. He's not even a parent.
No, he's not.
No.
The only people, Lenrod says, who want to put people into camps are the very people who are pro-child twerking. Maybe it's supposed to be tweaking. Either way,
tweaking as in modifying.
Read those really carefully. You know what I mean? Be euphemistic. Honestly, just for the sake of the prosperity of this channel. And you can blame me, guys. I'm the one giving the advice here. It's my fault.
Oh yes, Lenrod clarified, as in change.
But you know, chat away. You have freedom of speech. We're the ones who don't have as much freedom of speech, but we don't want to stifle your freedom of speech. Please speak your minds. You know, please don't say anything of a violent nature, but speak your minds. But we have to be euphemistic about it. Unfortunately,
since this is technically broadcasting as like one bad word.
Precisely. One little oopsie word, and boom. That's why we got the Rumble channel. Please check out the Rumble channel over there where we have freedom of speech, at least for now.
I would just say it's a little more. It's just a little more. That's it's not
exactly.
There is no way to have complete freedom of speech in America anymore, in my opinion. You have freedom to speak, but it's not unlimited, and it stops probably before fire in a movie theater even. And even I have been guilty of misconstruing, you know, what people say and maybe being a little too harsh in judging it. But we don't have complete freedom of speech anymore. It definitely comes with consequences. Marina Sirtis, she had freedom of speech. People are still pretty upset with things she said a while back.
Exactly. Yes, you're right, Killer Rabbit from space. Yeah, be careful of the YouTube overlords. Exactly. So we shall tread finely through this subject. Let's put it that way. So in the body of the article, Takei recounted his personal experience of being imprisoned in a concentration camp after the Japanese attacked the United States at Pearl Harbor in December 1941. He explained this was done because President Franklin Roosevelt needed to prove he was tough on the Japanese. From there, Takei described this as scapegoating, which he defines as a convenient target for politicians, a way to whip up hate and bigotry to win elections, a place to lay blame where none should lay. It meant hate, vilification, injustice, and the very power of the state turned upon us, is what he explained it as. Well, George, again, I think you might be a little bit wrong, because the reason why it was done is for fear of Japanese spies.
It was done because FDR was verifiably really coked up and drunk at 4 o'clock in the afternoon when he found out about Pearl Harbor, or 2:30. I'm sorry, in the afternoon. No, it was Franklin Roosevelt, a guy who was in a lot of pain. There are records. I don't know how many people know this, but presidents keep records. Did you know, did you know that?
Yes, that's
It's
true.
something
Yeah.
maybe possibly topical. The medical records for FDR show that he absolutely was administered cocaine that day, which was legal at the time. And let's remember, he had a lot of medical problems. He was a truly sick man. It took them an hour to put on the bindings that he wore. He might be equal in the scale of minorities to other people. Though he was wealthy, he was completely disabled. He was only an intellectual. He couldn't do the kind of robust things that fit in with the Roosevelt image. And he just, what are you going to say about internment that hasn't already been said, George? I mean, honestly, it doesn't seem to pertain to this. And our government apologized and made cash reparations, and there's museum there, a museum there documenting what we did wrong. Like we're not turning our backs on our own history. So to say that I believe that George is either confused or old or whatever here, because he's making false co-equivalencies between what happened to him and people talking about individuals not able to buy cigarettes yet who have complete freedom of movement and are not confined.
No, true. Lenrod says he's not completely wrong about FDR. He was a noted racist.
Yeah, no, it was he was drunk and coked up, and then they talked him down. They talked him off the ledge. It was only he was going to put every single Japanese person in America in a camp. But what he did was they talked him down. They didn't want it. And it's not funny, but he was this messed up and he was this angry. And if you can find it, there's a wire filament recording of his reaction to the attacks. And he starts screaming and shouting, and he starts screaming and shouting and pounding his one good hand, or maybe he could move both his arms. I don't know, but he was pounding his arms. Was it from the waist down? Right. I don't know, but he was like pounding his desk, and he might've been throwing shit, and he was screaming and yelling that he wanted to like attack tomorrow. And they're like, we just can't. And he wanted to do this, like, and that. And then they're like, I want every single Japanese person in America in jail now. And they're like, we can't do that. And he's like, I want them all in jail now. And they're like, no, we can't do that. That's crazy, FDR. Just calm down. You're coked up and drunk, come off of it. And he's like, we just lost our whole goddamn fleet. I have to, and they were here yesterday morning negotiating with us. And they're like, sir, we can't do this. And he's like, all right, fine. Every one of them west of the Mississippi. It was that whimsical. It was that strange.
Yeah. It was.
He had to be seen as tough. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No.
The man in the high castle is a good illustration of he was afraid of them more in the West than they just couldn't talk him off that ledge about people west of the Mississippi, which is obviously that they thought they were coming there next. And we didn't know that their fleet turned around and went back. There were no spy satellites. There was no intelligence. Pearl Harbor itself, an absolute fiasco. And, Americans are calling for his head as president. So, he made some bad calls that day, and a lot of people got hurt. It's a terrible, terrible shame. But, America is a human institution run by human beings. And that there's not any amount of money in the world that can make up for it. But we have said that it was wrong, and we are sorry. George, come on. Don't equate these things, George. You're 90 years old. Just calm down.
Yeah. And hey, Carla, you're back. Because you got to remember, I mean, they just got done fighting the Germans, and now they got to fight the Japanese on top of that. So, in a sense, and I'm not condoning what they did whatsoever, but I can imagine that there would be a certain degree of paranoia in the United States. I mean, because hell, it even happened here in Canada as well during the same time as well. That the Japanese were put into internment camps, and we did the same thing. We apologized and we did pay reparations for it as well. Because on top of that, paranoia is high, and you don't know who's a possible spy that's living in America or in Canada at the time. And in one sense, I can see why. However, yes, like you said, Teague, kind of improperly done in a way.
But you know what? it's mixing metaphors and it's comparing it's apples and oranges quite literally. We didn't have I mean, it was whimsical and it was messed up, but we're talking about the stability of the United States. Like, there was almost no country around to say it was sorry. And since that day, that terrible day, probably just about this day in 1945, when we closed those camps forever, and let those people go because the war was well over at this point. You know what? America has been very, very good to our friend, Mr. Takei. So I would just say, sir, temper your criticism of this nation.
Now, you were going to say, Pop?
Yeah, I mean, this is all in the past. There's like Admiral Teague has said before, is the false equivalency. There's nothing to compare here.
No,
people are not being rounded up and taken off. It's, I mean, just stop.
Like apparently when they were saying what was happening in Florida.
Yeah.
You saw George, I want to love you again. So just shut the fuck up. And in a couple of weeks, it'll have worn off and I'll see your work as Sulu and I'll think you're great again. Just you need to put down the fucking phone.
We fans love his work as an actor. We've loved what he's done in the past. All his Trek roles, his non-Trek roles. But come on.
Yeah.
It's getting ridiculous here.
But to go on, next he claims this scapegoating is happening again to the wonderful, joyous, yet so often misunderstood and reviled LGBTQ community. Letters that represent a veritable rainbow of sexual and gender identities. Oh my. As evidence of his claim, Takei points to Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. Of course he does, because it's not California. Armed with dangerous tropes from over 50 years ago, where gay and trans people are labeled as groomers who are a danger to children, wily politicians such as Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida began a campaign to drive out, to erase our families and identities in education, in library books, and in our own communities. They even targeted retail stores that supported us during our month of Pride. Well, George, again, and hello, Captain Fandom Nerd. How's it going, dude? Nice that you can drop
Captain Fandom Nerd. Good to see you,
there.
buddy.
Yeah. The books, for example, in the library, especially in the schools, were kind of identified as, how should we put it, not suitable for child consumption. Let's put it that way, which had very questionable tastes in it, to which I would never in a billion years ever let my child view whatsoever, when it contains, how should I put it, to remain YouTube friendly, pretty graphic pictures of certain positions that probably only consenting adults should be in, and not with a younger demographic of people. There. Can I make that any more clean?
So, yeah, there are certain things you protect children from. If you don't protect children from them, then you are that person that is labeled in this paragraph here. I mean,
yes,
there's just no getting around it.
What's on your fucking hard drive, George? What the fuck made you say something so insane?
Yeah. And especially when you have, because it's come out into the open, especially on Twitter, where there were a lot of people working within a certain mouse company in Florida, where there were a considerable amount of part of the LGBTQ plus community in positions of power in said mouse company, where they expressly said that they were wanting to conditionalize children in the programming. Yeah, that's been out for, well, let's see, a little over a year now, I do believe. So I think the term groomer would be how should I put it? Would be pretty apt in this case. So yeah, you know, because we don't go to entertainment to program children. That's something for parents to teach life lessons about what's right and what's wrong, to each family. So it's not up for entertainment companies to do, or for books of a certain nature in school to be uh, lent out for children to lose their to lose their innocence. Let's put it that way. So yeah, you know what? As a celebrity, George, shut up. It's amazing to me that many of these people that, like you said, Teague, that don't have kids, doesn't matter if it's a actor or actress or even politician. It seems like the ones that really don't have any skin in the game, no kids whatsoever, seem to be quite vocal about what they want to do with your kids. It's amazing. You know, I I find no shortage of that whatsoever. So, yeah. But carrying on, um, when he specifically attempts to defend body mutilation of children in the guise of transgender ideology, more ominously, and in the name of protecting trans kids and in defiance of all expert opinions, politicians at the state level have banned critically necessary trans medical care, leaving desperate parents and families without alternatives. It was not only ignorant,
Oh well.
but it was also deliberately cruel, to Takai falsely opinioned, and it is leading to untold suffering for young people already burdened with the weight of successfully transitioning. They are a group that currently suffers the highest rates of suicides among teens. No, George.
Don't
Again, that's wrong. The most suicides take place when,
you might want to say self delete. You might want to say self deletion.
oh, yes, you're right. Yep. Forgive me.
yeah.
Yes, it's when children realize what they have done, cannot really go back, that causes the self deletions, as it were. It has nothing to do with uh, the mental acuity of the guy. Yeah, yeah,
Listen. It's like this. There's no way to get an accurate statistic on this subsection of our population. There's no way for us to get accurate demographics on it. No one wants a registry of how people do things. You do that to yourself on Twitter if you choose to put pronouns on there.
yeah.
Like that's no one wants that. So there are no real statistics on this, and I question that this is a significant enough part of our population. And I'm not saying that, if someone who's like 35 years old and a millionaire like Elliot Page wants to become Ellen Page, they shouldn't be allowed to do it. But we're talking about children. They can't buy cigarettes. Like, what's next? The children's tattoo and cigar
Exactly.
smoking advocacy group? I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous. Perhaps they do need some sort of care, but we're not talking about surgery. We're not talking about anything of a hormonal nature. And you really should think hard before you start doing things that can't be undone.
Exactly. Lenrod says, yeah, the whole trans thing is just a fad with long lasting consequences. Exactly.
That's thank you for saying it for me, Lenrod. And you're
That's
right.
right.
Mhm.
Carla also says people who properly transition have the highest rate of self-deletion than who didn't physically do it. Exactly. Right?
Yeah,
So,
Elliot
and
Page is
yeah, and you're talking about adults, not kids, precisely.
Chaz Bono and Elliot Page are apparently fine. You know what I mean? Like apparently, they were older and they were of means when they did it. It worked out for some people, but again, like no one wants to make a registry and get a demographic of this. It seems to be a small amount of people.
Yeah, exactly. Next, the guy explicitly compares the World War II internment camps to states protecting children from violent, abusive mutilation procedures. I have seen it where scapegoating, if left unchallenged, leads, and it is a very dark place indeed. And I am alarmed that the fear mongering and hate, particularly against the trans community, are just the beginning. I know this because it is how it started with us 80 years ago. First the editorials, then the brutal restrictive rules, following the ire of our larger communities, which ultimately turned upon us, he asserted. Oh, really? He goes on to say that it could lead to industrialized mass murder. Oh, for the love of Pete. America.
No.
Yeah,
Newsflash, George Takei has fucking dementia. What the fuck?
Yeah, America is not somehow immune to these dark forces, the kind that has led to the horrors of the Holocaust in Europe. Oh, please!
Oh my
please.
God, George!
Come
it
on.
is nothing compared to that.
Take some medication and put down the fucking phone.
I'm sorry. This is a segment of adults with mental. This is my opinion now, and what I'm about to say does not reflect upon Teague or Comic Relief.
Yep.
In my opinion, these are possibly adults with mental issues who are trying to project their problems onto the lesser of our population.
Yep.
They need help. Instead,
what's good for
they're
me
pushing,
is good for you, even
they're
though
pushing
you're like
this
under it.
ideology, this life altering, this life damaging ideology onto people who have no real life experience, who can't make their own decisions at the moment.
Yeah.
And it's going to have far reaching implications, complications on their well-being, on their mental health, their physical well-being. It's damaging in every aspect of their lives.
Yep.
Didn't Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie's kid decide that was what they wanted to do, and like they didn't say no, but they wouldn't let them take hormones and get surgery, and the kid just changed their mind and is now what they were born and happy with it for like several straight years. Isn't that a thing that? No, seriously, isn't that a thing that exists? Right? Like they indulged it for a while. They dealt with the kid, and it turns out that for that kid it was a fad, right? And they were just
because that's what it is. It's pretending it's make believe. If I want to pretend like when I was a little kid that I'm a dinosaur, I'll pretend maybe for a day or two when I'm like 6 years old or something like that. I'm a dinosaur, rawr, right? But then eventually the fad goes away. It's like having a pretend friend or an imaginary friend or something like that. Eventually, it just goes away. That doesn't mean that for the rest of my life, I'm going to imagine that I have like this imaginary friend or something like that that's constantly hanging around. If that happens, then I'm freaking mentally ill.
You want an imaginary friend. You want an imaginary friend, get an imaginary dog,
Yeah, exactly. Get a Tamagotchi for the love of God.
Just gets my blood pressure up. I cannot relate to this. I cannot understand it. It's
there's
damaging.
There's people who have the problems that they're talking about. They exist and stuff, right? But like I don't know that they could exist in the numbers that we're saying. And this is all like being thrown at us like it's a fact. Like where's evidence? Why are we speaking in extreme terms? Where's the debate? We have nothing to go on here except that
That's
George
right.
Takei is being interviewed because he used to be a good actor.
Yes. And Hail Titan, how's it going? Yeah, the victim mentality is strong with Takai. And yeah, Killer Rabbit from Space says, yeah, George Takai seems cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. He does, doesn't he? So yeah, but you can't debate feelings. So that's right. You can't debate feelings because what I feel is valid. I couldn't give two craps. So
Can you
Double
debate
dumbass
science?
on you, George.
Can you
exactly.
debate science? Debate science. Debate
They're
something
not
that
the
is
Oh no, but science
concrete.
is bought by them now. So
Yeah.
but it goes on to say,
They're-
indeed, we have a long and terrible history of bringing the full power of the state behind the very laws that separate, discriminate, and punish based on differences in race or sexuality. Yeah, we
Jesus Christ.
do, but what you're doing is you're forcing the ideology on the general populace to try to look, the science proves against what you want to push. So it's not really discriminating, it's scientific fact. So you can't make science bend to your will just because your feelings on the matter say otherwise, George. So,
George,
but
what are you trying to prove here? Every history book around the world says that what we did during World War II was a mistake, and we said it too.
yep, that's right. So what more do you want? You want that blood from a stone? Go ahead and squeeze, George. But George Takei is completely wrong, as we all know, opposing the changing
And
of
old
children,
and insane.
yes, is the correct and right decision, no matter how much he tries to demonize those protecting the innocent. In fact, Takai's entire narrative is contrary to what the truth of what is happening in the United States. Archbishop Alexander Sample of the Archdiocese of Portland, Oregon, noted in his A Catholic Response to Gender Identity that gender identity theory is a framework that is increasingly dominant in Western culture. He goes on to explain that this theory affirms the subjective sense of gender over the objective fact of biological sex and recommends the process of transitioning to identify as one's chosen rather than given sex. Okay. He even refutes Takai's emotional claim that embracing mutilization would reduce suicide. He explains it is well documented that transgender people have higher risks of suicide or self-deletion, and thus it is supposed that these procedures are ultimately life-saving. However, these claims are not well supported by scientific evidence, particularly when it comes to treating gender dysphoric young people. One of them, one of the few robust long-term studies available, found that individuals that have undergone medical transition have a rate of self-deletion that is 19 times higher than the general population. The evidence indicates that medical transitioning at best does not solve the problem of elevated self deletion and at worst exacerbates it. Well, got to give him that. It's true because it's something that I kind of worry about almost each and every day. And I'm going to tell you why. And I haven't,
I didn't think you'd top the hairy woman story, but this is much, much, much worse. By the way, George, please go visit this man here at this place where he works and talk to him because he could maybe help you out. Oh my God. Where have we come to that I'm recommending going to a priest, to George Takei?
Exactly, yeah. I identify as me popsicle. With him, yeah. You know
Great
what?
movie, great line.
It is. You know why I'm pretty passionate about this kind of stuff, when it comes to kids. Like for example, talking about Sound of Freedom and stuff like this. And I don't really mention it. Because I got a daughter, and next month she's going to be 27. And a few years ago, she decided a day before New Year's Eve. Trying to think how long ago that was now. Probably maybe I don't know 5 years ago. It's hard to remember at this point. But little did we know that slowly but surely, she was being groomed by a few of her peers for a bit. My wife might have a different take on it. All the power to her. But I'm pretty sure she was groomed. And what ended up happening a day before New Year's Eve is when my wife and I were out, usually on New Year's Eve, we, get a bunch of buns, a bunch of cold cuts and stuff like that, and, celebrate New Year's Eve, bringing in the new year that way.
I
And
sit
when
home
we,
and quietly weep.
and, and when we got home, our oldest daughter, she ran out, and he said that our second born daughter was gone. She took off. She took a bunch of stuff, and there was a guy around her age, got in the car and took off, left. And I looked all over town for her. I had a couple of leads. I couldn't find her. And next thing I know, she took off with this guy to another city that's about probably a good 4 hours away, maybe a little bit more. And um, since then, she went on um, hormones, and she was talking to psychologists, and she goes by a different name, and she had, as far as I know, breast reduction surgery done, and a bunch of other stuff. And I feel like slowly but surely, and I tell you guys, I pray every day for her to be delivered from this. And like I said, I don't mention this much because as a dad, this really it hurts to know that one of your kids is doing this to themselves. And it's hard because on one hand, as a parent, you want to shake them, out of this delusion, and you just want to throw your arms around them and protect them from all this stuff. But she's an adult, and she's making her own decisions. But you question a lot of stuff what you did as a parent. And was there something that we did wrong? And I honestly look back and I don't think there was. But this stuff, to anybody that's listening on Rumble, on YouTube, hey, and if you guys can, hit the like button, spread this around and whatnot. I know I don't say that often enough, but I'm saying this now. Watch your kids closely. Keep them as close as possible. I don't care if you're a dad or if you're a mom. And I don't care if other people say that, oh, you're smothering your children. You know what? Good. Smother away. Protect them, especially in this day and age, because it's morons like this. Like this. Hey, Gap After Dark, how's it going, dude? Nice to see you here. That Oh boy, that really makes me want to just drive a certain appendage of my body through a certain other appendage of theirs right through them. And I'll just leave it at that because I barely hear from my daughter. Actually, the last time I personally heard from her was probably a good maybe 3 years ago, maybe. Um, thankfully, I know she's still alive because a few days ago she actually sent an email to her mom, to my wife, and so I know at least she's still alive. But she wants to go by her, this other name that she wants to go by. It's like, no, not gonna happen. We named her what we named her at birth, and that's what she's going to be named, and that's how I'm going to refer to her as. And if she expects me to call her, something else other than the gender she was born as, I'm sorry, I'm not going to do it. I'm not. Uh, but I I don't want I don't want her to be another statistic like what happens to so many other young people when they finally realize, oh my God, what have I done to myself? You know what I'm saying? And this is what scares me the most is that people like George Takei and that other retards out there, and yes, I will say retards. I don't care if this show is taken off of YouTube at this point, but I'm going to speak it out, and that's why I got the Rumble channel as well. So please check out the Rumble channel as well. I should probably include it in the chat.
Fuck it, let's go out with a bang.
Yeah, might as well at this point, right? But
it's Admiral Teague, Teag for anybody when you write up your complaint.
I'm not going to sit idly by and watch this happen and watch these stupid TikTokers and stupid celebrities and stupid politicians and just stupid people in general just keep on constantly pushing this, because I do not want to end up getting some sort of phone call at some point by some police officer or somebody that knew her and saying, Mr. Comic, I'm sorry to tell you, but yada yada yada. Right? I'm not. And this is why I get so fired up about this kind of crap. And yeah. I'm sorry, guys, for rambling on.
No.
If you guys in the chat want to leave or something like that, hey, I get it. This might not be your cup of tea, and you know what? Don't care, because this is why I do this channel. This is why I make these videos. This is why I have these live shows on top of that. This is why I speak out against this kind of stuff, right? Because I've had enough. I've had enough of this. And this is how they use media against everybody out there, against not just adults, but kids as well, right? The Titan says public schools are a powerful influence on our kids. Best I could do was arm them with a solid moral foundation and pray for the best. Exactly, dude. Exactly. Yeah. Carla says one time my son said, "Mom, I think I'm gay," and I said, "You want every girl you meet to be your girlfriend. You're not gay. They just get told by people over and over, you're gay, and they start to believe." Exactly, right? That's right. It's the constant hammering that other people do. Well, if you feel this way, well, then you must be this. No, that's not necessarily the case. Yeah. And he was happy with
peer
my
pressure,
answer. Exactly.
It's social manipulation, it's influences in our public school system. I mean,
I just want to thank our friend George Takei for hurting my good friend Comic Relief Crusader by having to shoot off his fucking mouth to feel relevant. And I guess I'm going to try to keep things like this in mind when I get my Twitter finger going. Because wow, just so you could feel good, fucking Sulu. Fucking Sulu, life's been good to you. You can't, you know what? Thank God that the one thing I'm okay with is I'm ready to be left behind somewhat.
Yeah.
I'm going to have my say on things here and there, but you know what? If people want to say like, hey, like you're not with where people are now, I'll be like, yeah, well, maybe like, you know, maybe like I'm done changing how I feel to make everyone feel. Maybe everyone. I'm gonna. You know what? I'm gonna stay what I am. And if you want to change the label you put on me, that's an artificial construct that you made. And you know what, George Takei, you had to go there with this apples and oranges comparison with this horrible event in American history, and fuck you.
This goes for me. This goes well beyond religious affiliation. I mean, I saw this article mentioning Catholicism. No matter if you're Catholic or Protestant or what have you, or even another faith, this goes so broad as to say what is right and what is wrong is wrong.
Yep. Yeah. Because
it should be that simple. It should be that simple.
Exactly. Because at this point, this is what I am. This is what I am right now. So, behold the field in which I grow my bucks and see that it is barren.
Yeah.
Hey, Potato Raven, how's it going, dude? You know, because this is right now. I couldn't give two pieces of excrement. Let's put it that way, because if you swear on YouTube, you'll get dinged. But I couldn't care anymore. I am done with, like I said before, celebrities and politicians and everybody else trying to tell me what is good for me or what's good for society. Blah, 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 blah. Right? And you know, anyone that comes along and tries to attack me or attack my friends, you know what? Zero F's given. I'm done with it. I'm so done with it. And maybe it's my age. Don't know. But you know what? And this is why I'm at the point where I almost don't care anymore. So, but that's just me.
I think we're all in the same age group, Gen Xers and whatnot. I think we're getting to the point where in society more and more people are starting to get fed up with this nonsense changing our culture. It's on every level. I mean, every issue you can think of is divisive. Politics, religion, medicine, science. We don't need to be divided. We can look at one another and look at our similarities. The only people who win by dividing us as a population are the people who are trying to control us.
That's right. Potato Raven says, we are the counterculture. We are the counter movement. Sadly, being normal is counterculture these days. That's right.
The League of 20th Century Gentlemen. What can I tell you? Fuck you.
Exactly.
I don't care.
Carla Burton, you have nothing to lose and only gain, comic. Thanks, Carla. I really appreciate it. Gap After Dark. Yeah, exactly, Carla.
You know what? Would you let your fucking
with all the crap, like you said? That's right.
Would you let your kid get a fucking neck tattoo? Dad, I identify as a fucking lowlife.
Yeah,
that's valid. You'd be fucking looked at like you're insane, and child services might come visit you.
Yeah. Potato Raven. I lost over 200 pounds. Good for you, dude. In weight. Someone told me that I was being fat phobic. Are you freaking kidding me?
Ronald fucking McDonald?
God, yeah, exactly, right?
What was he wearing? A yellow suit? Did he have a red nose, sir? Sir.
Yeah.
You know what? Fuck them.
MGU, I'm with you guys, but when the men's bathroom is occupied, I will identify as a woman and keep my pants clean. Okay.
Okay. No comment.
Right now, I'm trying to process the possible joke behind that. I
don't know.
My mind is clogged up right now. Okay, well, if that works for you, then okay. So, I'm sorry if I'm not getting the minutia of the joke. I really am. So, Potato Raven, yeah. I was an Irish Star Trek Comic Con group. The place was woker than woke. Oh, really, dude? Dang. So, well, you know what? Seeing how we're at the 1 hour mark, let's take a brief commercial break, shall we?
Oh, yes. Something light and mood
Alfred,
changing.
let's go shopping.
Okay.
The Decatur. There's a grandma who spends more time investigating flavor blends than knitting sweaters for her cats. And her name is Becky Glaze. She discovered that the most wealth she can provide her grandkids in this economy is that of rich taste. Try Becky Glaze's Chip Moisturizer today. Guaranteed flavor since 1989.
Because who doesn't want soggy chips? So
I don't know what to say about that.
I don't know either. So
okay.
Oh man. Oh, Gap. I miss my grandma. Oh, I'm sorry, dude.
Yeah.
Oh man. I'm sorry, man. Maybe you shouldn't have played that now because now I'm making Gap After Dark sad. So John Renton on the other end. What?
I'm glad we've gone from dark to at least just weird.
Exactly. So
yeah.
Quite the segue. There we go.
What's it say? What does it say that lightened the pace?
Yeah, okay, I'll go with that. So.
I love the Omega Mart commercials. They're always such a what the fuck.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
They're out there.
So they're the
ultimate
like reset button is the Omega Mart commercials. I might start airing them too.
There you go, right? Killer Rabbit from Space, a reason to rush to the store now. Precisely. So okay, so now that we've got that segment out of the way, this because we haven't had enough of Brie Larson. And because that movie's coming up soon. So
yay.
The Marvels EP.
The agony of the feet.
Exactly. Reveals that the movie will deconstruct Brie Larson's Captain Marvel. Because that's all we need now is to deconstruct Captain Marvel even further. From being a horrendous she-bitch to even more one.
Crazy thought here, but why should the female superheroes be immune, right?
Yeah, exactly. Hey, because gender equality, right?
It's about time. You know what? I, for one, applaud this move.
Yeah, because what's good for the goose is good for the gander. So
your mashup character that's a combination of all 5 different Marvel tries at Captain Marvel thrown together with 2 other iterations with other combinations of that thrown together in this legally acquired property that you have to make. Like, man, never has anybody bitched and complained so much about making their rights-preserving garbage movie than Marvel. And they're just like, we lost like $5,000 on this, in legal fees in 1958 before we finally won control of like the name of the character. So we've got to like claw that back somehow, like 2 ownership groups later. It's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Yep.
I think it's because, honestly, because of the terms of the lawsuit, because Marvel owns this and not Stan Lee, it is in their interest to have Captain Marvel be a successful character. If they deconstruct her and bring it back as someone that people can tolerate. Captain Marvel brings them a bigger share of the overall net than anyone else. They keep the most money from a Captain Marvel movie because it's not a Stan Lee creation. It was judged to be plagiarism on Superman, right? And defamation on Marvel.
Yeah, pretty close.
Right? Because
So,
Shazam is the same. Shazam comes from the same roots.
Yep. The Marvel's executive producer, Mary Labanos, recently asserted that the upcoming film will deconstruct Brie Larson's Captain Marvel. A face only a mother could punch. Labanos' revelation came in an interview with Total Film, where she discussed how the film's three main characters will interact with each other. Yay! Because, one Marvel isn't enough. You have to inject three. Beginning with the relationship between Teyonah Parris's Monica Rambeau and Larson's Carol Danvers, Labanos stated, the notion that Monica Rambeau and Carol Daniels' paths would cross has been something that has been in the works for quite some time. Somehow, I doubt it very much. They probably always make this up almost on the fly, as told by She-Hulk. It was discussed when making Captain Marvel if the adult friend relationship might be between Monica and Carol. Because, friend bond, girl power.
Wait. When they say the adult relationship, they mean adult friends, or they mean like Hall & Oates when they say adult?
Yeah, I'm hoping it's friend zone. That's
oh God! Can't anyone be fucking friends in this modern writing?
What's
messed up is I predict the teenager is written more mature than the other characters because
maybe
because they don't write adults.
Yeah,
this is about the interaction of the three characters, much like Marvel's interaction with a good script.
Yeah. But we ultimately decided.
By the way, I didn't say to do that on purpose either. The child's going to come off better because at least they'll have the excuse of being a kid.
Yeah, exactly. But we ultimately decided on Monica's mother, Maria, so that in the future we could have Monica Rambeau grow up, be her own hero, and feature a reunion between Carol and Monica that could evidence somehow how sometimes difficult, estranged, family-esque relationships could be. Oh, really? That's what we're going to be getting. Oh, okay. So family problems.
I mean, ad hoc family. Doesn't like the kid Marvel have like parents, right? Who are we ad hoc familying with? Who's the child in this equation? Her kid.
I'm guessing Monica Rambeau when she was younger.
Monica Rambeau's daughter would be like 19 now.
One would think so, yes. So,
but it's Marvel. She could have been snapped away.
Yeah. Like anything Marvel does at this point makes sense anyway. So
wait, no, that story took place in 1995, right? Or 1996. So
somewhere around there, yeah.
All right. So yeah, Monica Rambeau's daughter is like 30 now.
Yes. Oh, because remember, after when everybody came back from the blip, it was like 5 years later. So tag another 5 onto that. So technically, it wouldn't be 2023. It would be 2028. Somewhere around there.
Marvel.
Yeah.
What year is it? What year is it in the MCU? Is it 2019 in their prime continuity?
It's like 5 years later, so around 2028.
Though they're ahead of us now. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So they have overrun us in the time frame.
Yeah.
Well, that makes it science fiction pure and simple now.
Yeah, exactly right. So Labanos then turned her attention to the relationship between Kamala Khan and Carol Danvers. Little Miss Marvel has this ideal view of Carol Danvers. I don't want to say her name right for some reason because it's just an abomination as it is anyway. And to
Stop
see that
naming Captain Marvel, you big
Exactly. And to see that stripped back and Miss Marvel to and Miss Marvel to get to know her hero, who was, oh god, you know what? I can't even read because it's so ridiculous. And Miss Marvel to uh, get, oh, for frig's sake, why can't I read? I'm going to start it over again. Little Miss Marvel has its ideal view of Carol Danvers, and to see that stripped back and Miss Marvel get to know her hero for who she actually is was an interesting deconstruction that really warmed our hearts. There we go. I knew I could finish it. She added, we all are prone to fall into similar trappings when it comes to hero worship. You think that heroes can fix any problem, but in this movie, we actually examine how sometimes decisions you make in an attempt to make things better can sometimes make things worse and have a cascading effect that spirals out of your control.
Was she listening to Was she listening to Gordon Lightfoot that day or something? Because heroes
Probably
often fail.
Yeah.
That hero would be me.
Yeah.
I don't know where we went wrong, but the feelings, I just can't get it back.
That's right. So nice to see that Captain Marvel was such a popular and successful movie, says the Titan, that she was downgraded to a secondary character in her own sequel. Exactly.
Right, but all these characters,
don't look up to your heroes.
That's right.
That if they have to change out who Captain Marvel is, and they did it to Black Widow, so I guess it doesn't matter to them who you are. It's kind of like a third tier baseball team, right? Like they're not so good, so it's like they're always dumping salary because they can't win.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly right. So while we're seeing Carol Daniels grapple with
Danvers, damn it, stop dead naming Captain Marvel, you bigot. Ladies and gentlemen, mark down that timestamp, you piece of garbage.
we see that also
your respect.
through the eyes of Miss Marvel. We actually experience forgiveness through the eyes of another person that can be freeing for the person who might not be able to forgive themselves.
That's right.
Included. Yeah.
As it says in the book of Don Henley, when you get right down to the heart of the matter, it's about forgiveness.
Yeah, exactly. Girls stick together.
This storyline sounds about as convoluted as a timeline they're trying to push.
God, I know, right? Carla Burton can't wait for the Thor treatment, and a man becomes Captain Marvel. There you go.
People would have to regain some sanity first, but I think the deal is this. Ready? I might be wrong, but when I wikied this, so this was wiki a while ago, so it's as accurate as that. Right. But this is more or less what happened. Captain Marvel is Shazam. Okay, they're the same fucking character. What happened was there was another comic book company, and it wasn't that original. And what happened was one of the things that they had an issue with is they couldn't make enough money, and they were getting sued by DC the whole time and losing. Right. So what happens is with poor sales, poor story, I guess bad story, and just an implosion when a lot of comic companies go out of business. I think in the 50s. What happens is they limp into the early 60s when Marvel is around to be part of this, and maybe in the mid 60s when things settle down, there's like a bankruptcy sale, literally, and like Marvel gets right in there and swoops in and picks up the name Captain Marvel, and that's what they get. But the real winners were the people who did Superman, because what they decided was Shazam was simply not different enough from Superman to be called his own character. They just lifted the story of Superman. It was too close. It came after Superman. It was just like Superman. So if you're Marvel, you don't have any of the lore. But if you're DC, you have everything but the name Captain Marvel, because even though they went out of business, there may not have been a judgment. It may have been they collapsed and liquidated, and it was just like everybody just ran there as fast as they could with their lawyer and their money, and they got what they could. So Captain Marvel can't be really said to be a creation of Stan Lee, although they can do things that Stan Lee did to make a Captain Marvel. The ultimate goal for them would be to have Captain Marvel be the head, like honcho of this whole thing, be they male or female. I don't think they'll stop at much to do that if the revenue stream is the way I suspect. And I could be wrong, but you could see how, because of the origin of this character. And by the way, you're mandated to release something with this character every so often, or you lose it. There's like a different public domain equation to it. I don't understand all this. I'm not a lawyer, but like, for instance, the Shazam movie and the Captain Marvel movie coming out within like 6 months of each other. It's not a coincidence. It's that both lawsuits or both fire sales happened at the same time. They liquidated their assets at the same time. They bought the stuff around the same time. And they had to have one of these movies. There's a 1991 Fantastic Four movie. That's the best Fantastic Four movie by, I think, is it Roger Corman? That was made for the same reasons. So really, no one's ever made more off their scrap copy. This is just to hold on to their concept, because this is all worth it from the point of view to them that there won't be someone else out there owning the name Captain Marvel. But it's going to be a disaster.
Exactly. And hail Dadman, who just walked in.
Hello,
and he just
Dadman.
And he just over the weekend celebrated his 1 year YouTube anniversary. I believe it was on a Saturday. And he was gracious enough to
Mazel's, buddy.
It was
coming up.
It was a blast, dude. Everybody also that hasn't checked it out yet, check out Dadman Walking's channel. It was pretty fun. So I will say this, him and his wife like unicorns. So, and snowballs, especially his wife. So I'll say that much. So, if you want to know what I'm talking about, go check his channel. So anyway, as for why Khan idolizes Captain Marvel, well, I believe we kind of saw that in the series last year. It's explained in the opening sequence of the Miss Marvel Disney Plus series. She states, "I learned a lot about Captain Marvel, and I know that at least 3 things to be true. 1, she blasted through Thanos' fleet like a flaming angel, and she looked good doing it. 2, she punched Thanos right in the face. Well, wasn't that the other way around? Oh no, she actually did. Whatever. But oh boy, did he punch her back. No offense to any of the other Avengers, but I don't think they could have done that. Well, Thor could, so plus put an axe in him." She continued, "And 3, sometimes someone can come out of nowhere and do something amazing. Some of you think, well, she abandoned the people of Earth. But look, it's not true. Obviously, we don't know exactly what she's been up to, but maybe she just needed a break, Can't the woman just live?" I tried to upspeak it as much as possible. So, I tried, and it probably failed horribly. I don't care.
Was that some kind of personal attack?
Probably. Yes. And the Titan, didn't Thanos backslap her in the movie? Yes, he did.
Yeah,
and very painfully it looked like.
And grand fashion.
Exactly. So Dadman, she had a lot of fun tossing the snowballs. And yes, and you know what? You're welcome, dude, for the shout out. Hey, not a problem, dude. Oh god. This I know the show was supposed to be appealing to younger audiences, but dang, it just was not. So Carla Burton, this is as sickening as that Snow White chick.
I don't know, man. Give her a few more hours. Day ain't over yet.
Pretty close.
True.
It's
only 1:30 where she is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like that previous
Ra-
paragraph would be enough
Rachel
to make most teenagers cringe.
Yeah, I know, right? Oh God. Wait, my high school isn't like this. What are you talking about? As for the actions that Carol Danvers, see, I said it right this time, made that might spiral out of control, it's possible she followed through with her threat to end the war between the Kree and the Skrulls and expose the supreme intelligence that she had Jan Rog deliver at the end of Captain Marvel. This could lead to a radical Kree like the gender swapped villain of Dar Ben deciding to seek vengeance on Carol Daniels and possibly Earth. Oh, look at this. We got another gender swapped character as well.
They retconned the end of Captain Marvel in Secret Invasion, if you saw that.
Yes.
It was subtle, but it was there. The part where the Skrull ship takes off at hyperspace speed and she follows with no space helmet or anything, just goes light speed. She also goes warp. They took her out of that scene.
Yes.
So they're already kind of trying to it seems as though they realize some of this criticism is legitimate, but I think it's too little too late. I don't think that they blame the message. They're like, oh, continuity errors really messed us up. We'll just get rid of that criticized part. And you know what? I wonder if we were to watch Captain Marvel, and I dare anyone to attend that watch party. It would be most appropriate on my channel where we mostly watch bad stuff. But you know what? That watch party for Captain Marvel to see the end, I guess I could fast forward the movie to the end and see if they took her out of it too.
Yeah.
Right? Because her going to warp speed after that whole terrible movie, the last slap in the face is when she herself goes to warp speed.
That's right.
I mean, no matter what they do, she's still an insufferable character.
Hello, Steven Ransom. It's great to see you, buddy.
Hey there.
Yeah, dude. How's it going, dude? Nice that you can.
Oh, you name it. What do you got?
Well, because Dar Ben, at least in Marvel 616, is a dude, a general. That is part of the Kree army, and if you go a little bit into the history, I mean, he planned to assassinate.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
Are the Kree part of the Seven Nation Army, or are they part of a different alliance?
They're kind of like on their own, at least in the Marvel comics that I'm familiar with. So
they owe no allegiance to Jack White.
Yeah, probably not.
It's the best kind of joke, the kind you had to explain, everybody.
Yeah, when you roadmap a joke. See,
because
I'm going to Wichita, far from this soap opera forevermore. Gonna work the straw.
So because Dar Ben is, first of all, a dude and a Kree, and but they have to, yet again, Marvel pulling another Marvel, having to gender swap, and it looks like she's got a little bit of a tan on her as well, if I'm not mistaken there. Yeah, so lady of color, I guess. So, that's going on again, Marvel. So, or I mean, folks, another race swap, gender swapped character. So, yeah. So, and one of the comics featuring Dar Ben, oh, great, because we're going to be coming up to it anyway. He plotted with General El Dan to assassinate the current ruler of the Kree, Clumsy Foul-Up, and that goes into the Silver Surfer Comics, Volume 3. So if you want to check up on that, go read up those comics if you can find them, to take control of the Empire with an android version of the Silver Surfer. And I usually have these comics, so I know exactly what they're talking about right here. That would be used to place the blame on the Skrulls back in 1991 Silver Surfer number 53, because I remember this issue quite well. Their plot, because Clumsy Foul-Up in the comics at least, well, he was a little bit of an idiot. So, sort of kind of smart. He had his moments, but overall, he was a freaking moron. So that's all that can be really said about him. And so what happened is the Kree made a robotic Silver Surfer to get him out of there because, well, A, he wasn't Kree, and B, well, he was an idiot, and C, they thought that basically the one heading the Kree Empire should be actually Kree. So, in order to pin it on the scrolls and make the war happen all over again, they made a robotic Silver Surfer, and essentially, while filming it and broadcasting it to the entire Kree Empire, killed Clumsy Fellop. And this guy was actually part of the whole plot. So their plot will be highly successful as the Silver Surfer assassinated Clumsy Fellop, and Generals Dar Ben and Aeldan took control of the Kree Empire, and with their first act instituted martial law because one of them was a pink Skrull and the other, or Skrull, sorry, Kree. One of them was a pink Kree and the other one was a blue Kree, and they joined and ruled together.
Am I following this right? Is this the actual character in the comic panel there that is the same character as the photo above it?
Yes. So the pink Kree that you see is the actual character Dar Ben. But in the Marvels, you're going to be getting basically a gender swapped girl boss.
Gotcha.
So there you go. Yep. Titan. Yep. Disney is introducing a girl boss. How original. Oh, wait, never mind. That's right.
Just showing that lore and canon does not matter.
Yep. So yeah, Stephen Ransom, Angst Live, Disney gets it done. Fandom angry. Check. That's right. Gotta check them boxes.
Yeah, those check boxes aren't going to check themselves.
That's right.
It takes some work to do that.
Exactly. So that's what happened. So that's basically going to be your antagonist. So it's quite possible, the article says, that Carol Danvers' move, see, I said it right again, against the Kree and the Supreme Intelligence in an effort to end the war between the Kree and the Skrulls resulted in a civil war amongst the Kree. We already know that Ronan was an outcast Kree. Technically, I guess in Guardians of the Galaxy, really shouldn't have been. In the first Guardians of the Galaxy film, it's not out of the realm of possibility that this gender-swapped Dar Ben leads a more militant faction of Kree that want to continue the war against the Skrull. It's even possible that a Skrull might have assumed the rulership of the Kree in the wake of Danvers taking out the Supreme Intelligence. This would highly motivate a militant Dar Ben to not only enact revenge against Captain Marvel, but lead to more death and destruction. Hooray! So, yes, and as you can see, yeah, this is from the Silver Surfer comic. So, where Sybil, the Empress of the Kree, went essentially toe to toe with Nenora, who was essentially a Kree in disguise, acting as a Kree that essentially, wanted power for herself, rebelled, and basically played the Kree against the Skrulls in the hopes that, there would be peace between the two. But, the Kree were just raging against the machine, as it were, and just wanted war nevertheless, right?
You know what I'm getting from all this, what you've been reading off here, is that the best way to go about this is to skip the movie and go to the comic books.
Yeah, you might as well, because the comic was
it sounds so much better. It sounds a lot better.
That was me. Oops.
It's all good.
Yeah, not a problem. But
no, it just seems skip a really bad movie, read the comic books, the source material as they were intended. That way you don't have to worry about what boxes are checked and whatnot. Just enjoy the comics.
Precisely.
Simple.
And it's better drawn.
Yes.
Most of them nowadays anyway, right? Oh,
It might not be a real woman, but the figure was drawn for your enjoyment.
exactly.
We just got that going for it.
Thank God for Ron Lim. So, oh yeah, I was a big fan of his. I had every issue of this. So yeah. So what do you make of the whole gender swapped thing? But that's not all for Captain Marvel. No.
Oh
Because
no.
it goes on even more. Because
oh no.
yeah, because actor Annette Bening claims that murder and body manipulations are basically a human right.
Just when my blood pressure was coming down from the other article.
I'm just a roller coaster of hormones and and rage. So
here we go.
They basically really are acting like the Kree, right? So,
I got nothing on this one, guys. I got nothing for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? You go on with your bad self there, Annette Bening.
Yep, exactly. Because because she basically shared her vile opinion that murder and body manipulation, mutilation are human rights. So,
well, I mean, she did slap herself in the face for like 15 minutes straight in American Beauty, right?
Yeah, pretty much. So, Benning spoke with the Hollywood Reporter's Chris Garner, who asked, like everyone, I was home during the pandemic, and I shifted to covering many virtual events. I remember seeing you pop up on several, first for the Point Foundation and later the Human Rights Campaign, Unite for Equality Live, speaking out on LGBTQ rights. This seemed new for you and feels like it was a thoughtful decision. Can you share a bit about why you decided that? Oh, I bet you will, because because she responded, for me, a real transition has happened as the right wing in the country has become more and more mobilized on misinforming people about LGBTQ communities. They have been vilifying their community and creating problems that do not exist, and creating and sowing hate and fear as a way of rallying their base.
Yeah, you know, I'm not the one who thinks that you're allowed to delete people as a fucking right.
Right.
Exactly, right? I said,
what the fuck is that? What the fuck is that even about? What a weird fucking thing to say.
Yeah, because I seem to recall a certain issue about a certain Christian couple that were bakers, for example, that didn't want to bake a cake, for example, and they had to pay a humongous fine. So
did they actually ultimately? They got drained of a lot of money, and it was a big pain in their ass. They had the freedom of speech and the freedom of business to do business with who they please, I guess, was the final ruling. But the bottom line is, I think that case has been around so long that the bakery closed and they're happily retired, and that couple's divorced. Honestly, that case is from when?
A long time ago.
Yeah, we hear about that one
in a state far, far away.
Yeah, I hope that we've moved beyond that as a society, but Annette Bening thinks that we should be able to fucking delete people.
Yes, apparently. So
you know what?
She goes on to say,
weird chick. We came this close to having her be Catwoman. Thank God we dodged that bullet.
I know. She goes on to say that's obviously not new, and it's happening in the campaigns of the past, especially against gay people. But now it's transphobia, and it's just rampant, Benning continued. So she went on to say they're doing it at a time when there's more and more trans people who are living openly and who are our teachers, our writers, and our doctors. One of my most favorite doctors is a trans woman. Well, would you
Good
have
for you. I mean, you
teachers-
have freedom and the largesse to go to any doctor you want in a country
Yeah.
where people are debating fuel or medical care. Get fucked.
You know what? You have the freedom to, first of all, associate with who you want to associate with, but you do not have
And
the
be-
right
and be
to go ahead and groom children, whether it's in a teacher's room or a writer's room when you plan to produce a show or movie or whatever, or even in a doctor's room where you can manipulate with your medical jargon to make it sound like you know exactly what you're talking about, especially when it goes against the whole quote unquote science of it all. That's where I got a problem.
I'm proud that I live in a state where there was already a crime where you went to jail if you spoke to children below like 5th grade about these matters. You were supposed to just let them learn, be innocent, and interact.
Yep.
This reminds me of
fuck, man.
Kind of what other people have talked about before. Like, we are so divided. We have two separate and distinct cultures in this country now, and
yeah.
I think I'm kind of paraphrasing Eric July when he said we need to peaceably separate ourselves from this, because there's no middle ground anymore. There's no way I can have middle ground with
it's extremely black and
people. White. Yeah, it's extremely black and white. There's no middle ground. There's no way to reach.
Stephen Ransom says the Actors Guild needs to clean house. Perhaps the strike will lead to cancellation of this line of dialogue. Good grief. Serenity now. Gap After Dark. She's not a relevant actress anyway. No, she's not really.
Wait,
however,
was that truth through was that truth through autocorrect? Because she is sort of a revenant actress, if you know what I mean. Like, her career is like not quite a vampire. It's like one level lower, but it's still kind of, you know what? No, Gap After Dark. I'm going to call it right now. That was called Truth Through Autocorrect. That was great. Now, I know what you meant to say, but that many a Freudian autocorrection slip really puts things in perspective, honestly.
Exactly.
She also lives in a country where
career.
She also lives in a country where she has the freedom to attack people with opposing points of view, whether they're conservative or not. I mean,
but heaven forbid if you have the opposing view, and you end up getting canceled. So how fair is that, right?
I don't care what Warren Beatty's wife and Shirley MacLaine's sister-in-law has to say. That's all she is. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
You were in 3 good movies.
Betting then shared her wish. What I would wish is for every person to have someone who is trans in their family, because once somebody you love is trans,
why
then
would
you
wish that on people?
No. No,
I'm not
I have
saying,
a trans son, and she plastered. Certainly, what's happening in the political world with trans people is so concerning and so dire. It's only going to get worse as we go into the election cycle.
What the fuck is on her hard drive?
Well, this is what happens when left is left.
So, erase your browser history.
Because not everybody agrees with you. Yeah. Not everybody agrees with you. Like
George Takei probably does. George Takei most likely agrees.
Well, yes, more than likely George Takei does, because George Takei doesn't really have any skin in the game, so he can just rant and rave about whatever he feels like.
Well, I mean, he's a man.
Betting, however, is just a nutcase, and as we just mentioned before, she's not really a relevant actor, and obviously so far left that she really doesn't care what happens to her son and or daughter, whatever whichever egg came first. Let's put it that way.
That may have even reached the point of being anarchistic.
Pretty much, yes. So
that was some debased fucking bullshit. We should be allowed to delete people. All right, Marvel.
Betting then then mentioned that
Is she
oh boy,
angling
I'm
for
going to
a
be very
role?
careful with these words.
Is she
That
angling for a role as a villain in Sound of Freedom 2?
probably. She then mentioned that let's put it this way, that offing someone and self-deletion, because basically going to watch those words, are basic human rights. Really. She
You know
said,
what?
I
You
was
don't have the
just as
gravitas. She
yeah,
lacks the gravitas. And where's the context? Where is the
I was
context in that?
I was just at a wonderful event that the ACLU sponsored about bodily autonomy. It was about issues around abortion rights and trans rights. We
Now
were
the
all there to talk about both, and it was awesome. We all want to be able to make decisions about our own bodies without the government interfering. Isn't that a basic human right? It's not really a right whatsoever. It's just basically a choice. It's not
and
a
also
human right.
and
It's a
also, you know,
choice.
a little conflation there. You know, the ACLU did not approve or validate any of these ideas. The ACLU said, let's have a symposium where people can talk about whatever they want, because our
Yeah.
default position is everyone should talk about anything they want, anytime they want, and that all of it's cool as long as it's not, you know, a direct call specifically to like go be violent or something like that.
But I mean, going back to what she said, how is mur- offing someone? How is that
I
a
don't know
basic
why she
human
wants.
right?
And who
I
gets
wouldn't
to
even.
decide who gets deleted?
Exactly, right?
Who gets to is it the high
What?
moral ground of the left that gets to decide all
Yes,
this? I mean,
like the Titans, yeah, bodily autonomy is except when it comes to a certain jab. You're right.
yeah.
John Rendell, the ACLU, are a bunch of communists. Always has been since Roger Baldwin started it. Exactly.
Yeah.
Carla
Yeah,
Burton.
they're
Yep.
they're
My
pretty
son
much
was in a
commies.
conversation with people about abortion, and because he was pro life, his friends compared him to Hitler. So,
Hilter. We call him Hilter.
Hilter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hilter Skelter.
You know what? I got to agree with John Rendell. Like, bunch of commies though they are. I wanted to just be said out loud. Like, she's trying to, whatever they may be, they have a lot more regard. They're a lot more well regarded than these other things she's championing. So, like, let's not let her meat shield behind anybody, whether they be friend or foe. You know, she should be out there on her own, holding her own.
Yeah.
So yeah, I see what John Rendell's saying, and I agree with you as
Yes.
well. But you know, like let's not let her have any false cover. You know, she's trying to throw these stigmatizing names of organizations out there to distract from what she's saying, because she's a rather clever propagandist. She's conflated and she's also distracted. She's trying
That's
to
right.
divide us, which is the first goal of the propagandists. And
Yeah.
what she's doing, which is very propagandistic, is she's making a promise that can never be fulfilled. It'll be a mockery of that promise.
Yep. Carla Burton. Only one side in World War II was pro killing people. Exactly.
Well, what?
Mhm. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah.
can't imagine who that side was. Let me think about that.
Hmm.
Oh, yes,
I
I'm
under-
just watching it right
Indeed.
now.
Well, I mean, our
So,
side deleted a lot of people, but they were trying to delete us. Like, we know what you mean, though. Yeah, like let's not.
yes,
We know exactly what you mean. Like, if there's one conflict in all of human history that is absolutely unambiguous, it's World War II.
that's right. So,
And
with
my
all the
grandfather
things that are
served in
going
this
on in the
nation's
news right
navy.
now, because apparently a lot of people have been, how should we say, offing or making certain threats to people of certain judicial standings in a certain southern state. She should be happy about that then, because it's a basic human right, right? If you know what news I'm talking about lately. So, of a certain president slash former president, whichever way you want to swing on that count, in a certain peach tree state where a certain trial is going on about a
Oh, yes.
certain yes,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
So where certain threats have been
I think
made.
I have an outside idea of who you may be casually alluding to.
Probably.
Yeah, the
So,
color orange comes to mind. Yeah.
Yes.
It's not.
yes.
It's not LL Cool J or me, but they were born in Jamaica,
No.
Queens.
Yes, exactly. So hey, if offing purple is a basic human right, well, then she should be all for it. Oh, but it's on the wrong side of things. That's where she has a problem with, I guess. So Gardner then asks, transphobia has made its way. What? Yeah.
There's a right way to single out people for deletion. I mean, this is one crazy
I
fucking
suppose.
rant. How
Yeah.
much? How did she drink on her psych meds before she said this? I mean, this is crazy.
More than likely. Gardner then asked, transphobia has made its way into the government and led to an attack on rights and access to medical care. How do you process what is happening? To which he said, it's heartbreaking to me, the coldness and lack of compassion that is so many people have. And they're trying to stir up all this fear about people, about trans kids and about parents, and they're trying to legislate that. This should not be scary to anybody else. This is private, legitimate, complex, deep spiritual, physical, psychological experience that has to be respected and honored. No,
it doesn't.
I'm sorry. No, it does not.
Sorry. There's no such thing as trans. Again, my point of view,
Exactly.
not Teague's or comic relief. It's just my stating that no such thing as trans. Scientifically impossible.
Yep. It's essentially extreme body manipulation and mutilation. Yep. So that's where I got to go with that. So after briefly discussing how her daughter, Kathleen Elizabeth, chose to identify as a man and falsely go by the name of Stephen, Benning confirmed that she would continue to advocate for immortality. Blah, 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 blah. Gardner asked, will you continue to use your voice in a way that you have because of the threat that exists? To which he answered, yes. And we all have a responsibility to protect and defend the rights of trans folks in our world. They're a precious part of our community. Somehow I don't think so, especially when you're jiggling certain appendages in front of children, whether it's out in the street or at certain bars and stuff like that. That's where I got a problem with that. And on top of that, having to make it well-known in movies and TV shows, which eventually that's where it's coming to, and probably even children's shows on top of that. That's where I got a problem with that. So my parents were Republicans. Somehow I doubt that. But and I was raised in a Republican household. Well, my mother, who is now 94, was one of the first people to say, I used to have a beautiful granddaughter. Now I have a handsome grandson. It's that simple.
Well, that's because she loved you unconditionally. Don't fucking get Nana involved in this shit.
Exactly.
Because she's 94.
Not because
you 60 minutes looking at a wall. I mean, she's 94.
Yeah.
She was happy you came to see her.
It's because she loves you as a human being. So see how they're trying to conflate the
nothing whole you can do to make your grandmother not love you, you fucking idiot.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm not saying it wasn't beautiful. I'm not saying it wasn't valid. I'm just saying, it's not because someone who was born, 94 years ago, someone who was born in 1683 would be able to, have 2023 or 2024 almost outlook. And like I said, you want to say I've been left behind. All right. I have a parochial early 21st century, late 20th century outlook. Perhaps I'm a man of my time.
Yep. And you're right, John. Yep. These people are insane.
Agreed.
Gap After Dark. Yes, there is things such as trans called transportation.
There you go. And trans fat. Yeah. And Transformers.
Trans fat. Transformers.
I can't believe, I want to give you a shout out for the singular accomplishment of doing these 3 stories without having to use the New York Post at all, which is, of course, a beacon of darkness.
It is. Yes,
It's
It is an
amazing.
absolute. Every once in
Yeah.
a while, they have something like good, like TBI talking chimp makes prediction of Super Bowl and wins $200 million for Zoo, but everything else is absolutely batshit.
and
It's
the
been an
fact that you're
insane
reading it
time.
now brings hope.
It feels like the first time I saw the Ramones. Every time my toupee is blown back.
Yeah,
You
Yeah.
recognize my new avatar, right? I put on my new face here.
but you know what? Look, I am the firm believer that we are all created in God's image, and like he says, he knew us before we were born. You were born
Yes.
the way you were meant to be. Okay? And this is just my point of view. I'm not trying to shove it on you guys. You guys live the way that you want, right? Ultimately, I believe that on Judgment Day, we're going to be judged for every word that we say, every idle word that we say, everything that we do to everybody, everything that we say to everybody. Um, but you know what? To me, like kind of what I was saying before, um, to me, one of the most precious gifts that we've been given is our lives, and to change it, to mutilate it, to do all this weird stuff to it. It's like taking a gift that you were given and essentially taking a hammer to it and destroying it, hoping to put it back together in something that you wanted instead. And often what you end up with is a broken toy. So, that's just my point of view on the whole thing. Really, aside from what I said earlier, that's just me. You were born the way you were meant to be born as, not as something else, not as, oh, I'm a man trapped in a woman's body, or I'm a woman trapped in a man's body. I'm, I identify as a cat or a dog, or where's my litter box, damn it, because I feel quite feral today. It's we're living totally in bizarre world, like everybody has mentioned today. Yes, we are.
How
We
did
are living in 100% bizarre world.
How the hell did you
So,
know that I keep a bucket of kitty litter in front of my chair when I podcast so that I can pee while I stream without getting up? Who told you my terrible secret, Mike?
Oh,
you're lucky
TMI.
guess, because I only figured going on for 6 hours at a time, if not longer, you had to have something readily available.
So didn't I just
Logic
have a
made
big
sense to
bucket
me.
I have a gigantic bucket of kitty litter I pee into.
I hope you're dumping that in
Tell your
somewhere.
friends.
And John
So-
Rendell, yes, I agree with John Rendell's comment there. A rich man trapped in a poor man's bank account. Yes.
Yeah,
there you go.
I totally.
Yeah, there you
that's,
go.
I feel
can
your
relate.
pain on that one.
So, Carla Burton, yeah, that's exactly why I try to be a bit feminine, even though I have strong tomboy tendencies, is because someone said God made you female for a reason. There you go.
There's a term you'll get in trouble for using these days, tomboy. But you know what?
Oh yeah,
no, absolutely nothing wrong with it. It was
Nope.
a normal thing, but we've gotten real weird in this country. Like it seems like
yeah.
socially in every way we've taken a step back from when I was younger. So that's why I'm saying you can call me whatever you want. I'm not changing how I feel. I know what's right and wrong, and some of this stuff that I'm hearing now, it's pretty extreme. I'm shocked by the extremeness of our society, and it makes me sad because I'm from a more moderate time where people would say we had a. You know what? I remember when I was a young man and first became patrioted as an American. I voted in my first election, and it was Taft versus Roosevelt. And I voted my conscience and what I felt, and you know what one guy said about the other guy? I think I would be a better president than him and listed reasons. And then the other guy said back, well, my opponent would still be a decent president, but I would be better because of this. And that was the level of the discourse. And then the rejoinder was, my esteemed opponent would also be a good president. This is about who would be better. And we've lost that. Now it's just like,
we have lost that. That was a time of civility. I mean, we've lost a great deal in this country, and I'm going to again comment my own point of view and be daring enough to say that what's happening in this country now is what happens when we have removed God from every aspect of our society.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I mean, that's a daring thing to say nowadays. It's like, oh, you can't mention this God person, like you can't mention religion, you can't mention Christianity, because all these are no subjects, and we've got to get past all that and embrace all this really awful stuff that is out there now that is bringing down our culture, our society, our politics. It's now at some point, if we don't put the brakes on and stop and reverse course, this country is going to be lost.
It is.
You know what?
Why is it okay to accept all of this other stuff in schools, but as soon as you mention God, right? No. We can't, that has no place here. But it's okay to put in Islam. It's okay to put in and you can call this a religious belief. You can totally call it a religious belief because faith in, for example, let's say atheism, for example, that takes a certain amount of belief in that kind of system as well to believe it to be true. You can even say the whole religion, quote unquote, of believing that this whole gender dysphoria kind of this whole trans LGBTQ thing, you can say then that is a total religion all on its own, which it practically is, and it is, right? But no,
it's the religion of the left,
because exactly, and there's where I got a problem with. And as it stands right now, we're almost
we had school prayer. Our society was much better in the 40s and 50s. Yes, we had our problems back then.
Yep.
But we didn't have kids doing terrible stuff to other kids in schools with boom sticks.
Oh, and later, Dad, man, thanks for dropping by.
Well, I mean, my dad's generation, if my dad was alive today, he would be in his 90s. But during his generation, kids would take boom sticks to school, put them in their school lockers. No big deal.
Perhaps we should call them phasers.
Phasers. Sure. They would take phasers to school, put them in their school locker. No big deal. After school, they'd get them out of their locker, go hunting or whatever. Sometimes you'd have the gym coach or the principal go, gee, guys, I might join you because I want to do something like that as well. So I'll join you guys after school today. And no big deal.
That's right.
Phasers.
You have phaser number 1. I have phaser number 2. Check out the difference you can do. Watch me heat up this rock from across the lake.
Titan says, Nietzsche gave us a warning, not a proclamation. He said, if God is dead, then the 20th century would be the bloodiest in human history. And he was right.
Yeah. I don't know about that. Was he right? Was he right per capita? Let's,
well, with the amount of,
I hear what you're saying. Maybe in Western
let's put it this way.
In context, he was right.
With the amount of abortions going on daily, and I hope that doesn't get me canceled off of YouTube, but that's why I have Rumble on top of that as well. But you know what? It aborts so many people, and I will call them people because that's what they are. They are people more than pretty much any combined war in the last 2,000 years. So if that doesn't say bloodiest, then I don't know.
We've had some bad years, like for the per capita population, But yeah, I guess a cataclysmic event, a volcano, global famine, something like that came into play. But I definitely see where you're going with that one. It was just that was a lot to process. In this whole
animals don't even act like this. Let's put it that way.
No. When you take a society that has a moral foundation, you get rid of that moral foundation, there's going to be something else to take its place, and we are seeing that right now. Some will even say it's judgment. This country is being judged.
Was the 20th century the bloodiest, or did we simply have the best documentation because of moving pictures?
Well,
what I mean, it's like we don't have any real pictures or no moving pictures before like World War II.
20th century as opposed to 19th century or 18th century. We have
you're probably right. The armies are much smaller.
Yeah, we have more population on this planet now than before.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
anyway,
hard to
guys.
say, the Napoleon's army moves through an area and devastates it on its way in and out. Like, well, his army may have only been 50,000 guys and half of them didn't make it or more. There's still like how many hundreds of thousands of civilians along that like 1,800-mile supply line that he had or whatever it might have been. I don't know.
Yeah.
We've certainly waged war on ourselves plenty good in the last couple of centuries, throughout our history.
True. So as we're going to be landing this plane right now, because pretty soon I'm going to have to get to job number 2. Pop Culture Republic, plug away, my friend.
All right. Pop Culture Republic. Blah, blah, blah. I can talk. Pop Culture Republic, in the name of my channel. I talk about just about anything and everything that interests me: sci-fi, fantasy, TV shows, movies, and more recently K-dramas, which I'll probably be doing a live stream on some K-dramas I've been enjoying the past few weeks or so. Something more lighthearted than what we've been covering today on your live stream.
Right.
Sometimes you just have to take a step back and look at things you find yourself enjoying, and that's more and more what I'll be talking about, because there's only so much complaining I can do about Disney and bad pop culture in our society right now.
Yeah, true. Admiral Teague, what you got for us, bud?
Plans are up in the air, but probably back on Friday at 4. Nothing, no promises though. And definitely check out my new upload on Decoding Propaganda. Went live yesterday on my channel. It's me, your buddy Admiral Teague, and this is my channel. Thanks a lot, Mike, for having me by. And thank you all in the chat for indulging me. Interesting conversation as always, and it was so nice to see every one of you, especially our gracious host Mike and my good friend PCR. Thanks, guys. It's good to see you both.
Thank you.
And it's nice to be here with all of you.
Yeah, not a problem, bud. Always welcome. And I want to thank everybody that showed up in the chat today. Carla Burton, of course, was the first one in. And thank you for Carla for showing up. And Killer Rabbit.
Carl Burton's the best. We love you.
She is. And Killer Rabbit from space. Please do not take over our planet. I warned you why. Because of hairy armpits. Tim the Enchanter also showed up as well as Lenrod and James Caserta. Nice
and Captain Fandom Nerd. Sorry,
yes.
Stop on James Caserta there. James Caserta. There, we said it
James
twice.
Caserta. And my best brother, John Rendell, also stopped by as well. So hail to you, John.
Dropped by
Rendell.
Dropped some science.
And Christian Delorme, fellow Canadian, I do believe. Nice that you could drop by as well. And Captain Fandom Nerd also dropped in and said hello to everybody and partook of the chat today, as well as the Titan, the mighty Titan. Bum, bum, bum. And who else? We also had Gap After Dark as well. Love that kitty cat avatar that you have going on there. You are rocking that, dude. As well as who else bothered? MCU that made some sort of weird, odd joke. I'm still trying to kind of process that.
Yeah,
Potato
I
Raven.
think I know what that's all about. I'll be honest.
I think so too. Yeah. And our favorite Irishman, Potato Raven, decided
Potato
to drop
Raven,
by.
great to see you.
Yep.
So thank you for also dropping by, Potato
Jack
Raven.
After Dark,
And
Stephen Ransom,
and
John Rundle,
Dead Man.
Dad
Also
Man,
Dead Man. Dead Man
The
walking.
Dead Man.
Burton, the Titan.
Dead.
It was great to have the Titan here. A lot of good contributions from all of you. We had great chats today. A lot of great conversations going on. It was great to hear from all of you. It was really so nice. Killer
Yeah.
Rabbit from space.
Stephen
Always
Ransom
great.
as well.
Always great seeing a lively chat, and it was good to have everybody here today.
I know, right?
Did I shout out Gap After Dark? Let me do it again.
Do it
Gap
again.
After Dark.
Yes.
Gap After Dark.
There you go.
After
Yep, that's it.
Yeah.
When I don't always go to the Gap, but when I do it after dark.
After dark.
Dum dum dum.
So
Oh,
we try
goodness.
to keep it.
We love you guys. Thank you for
Keeping
coming
it
by
classy.
Gap After Dark.
So yeah, thank you all for dropping by. Greatly appreciate it. Subscribe to these fine, distinguished gentlemen on their respective channels as well. And I think this Thursday I'm going to try something new on my channel. Hopefully, it might be funny if I'm lucky. And I will try again for maybe a Frantic Friday as well. So, yes, it was a very tasty chat, wasn't it, Killer Rabbit? I try to keep
We
it
had
moving.
a little
So-
bit from column A, a little bit from column B, a little bit from column C. It was
That's right.
It was really quite the wide-ranging chat, and Mike, wow, it's, a great show, great show.
Yeah, indeed.
Thanks, bud.
We're all
Really
over.
appreciate it.
We're all over today.
I tried to keep it
Yeah.
frosty. So from everybody here on the panel to everybody out there in the chat, greatly appreciate it. Thank you for joining by. Please hit the like button. If you can, try to slowly port your way over to the Rumble channel as well, which I believe I might have added a few times into the chat as well. Because you have more freedom of speech over on Rumble than you do on the tubes here. And on top of that, you get monetized faster as well. From
Odyssey is owned by the same people that own YouTube. So what's the point?
Of course it is. So.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. I researched that before I went on there. Yeah.
There you go. So
I made
from
sure that
everybody
no
here,
one could take my name. That's all I did. I just registered for free.
There you go. So from everybody here to all of you out in the chat, thank you for stopping on by. Hit the like, and we will keep you posted, especially next week for another Titillating Tuesday. See y'all.
Bye now.
See y'all.
Great to have been.